Hello everyone, Charcoal here, and welcome to another discussion video. Between the large amount of work that came with the Dragon Slayer rant, and I'm assuming even more work coming with the Dangerous Gift, I wanted to take it easy this time and do something simple. The basis of every story is the characters, and in a series like Wings of Fire with lots and lots of characters to read about, there are going to be some that are good and some not so much. Today, we're focusing on the good. I'm going to count down my top 5 favorite characters. Spoilers obviously, and without further ado, let's get started. Number 5. Peril. I like to think I see a bit of myself in every protagonist from the second arc. Kibbly is how I act around my friends, Turtle is how I act around literally anyone else, Winter is how I act when people are around but I'm not talking to them, Moonwatcher is how I think when anyone is around, no matter who they are, and Peril is just me as a whole when I'm alone. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, I'll have to get back to you on that. Anyway, Peril has been around since book 1, but it took until book 8 to finally make her a protagonist, and boy was it a good book. Peril is such a joy to read about. If I said this dragon was a fiery death monster, you wouldn't think she'd end up being one of the funniest characters in this series. But guess what? Tui pulled it off. Her banter with the other characters is hilarious, her character arc is nice, and I love reading about her murderous impulses. Okay, maybe therapy isn't such a bad idea. Number 4. Turtle. Turtle is me, simple as that. An introverted roly-poly with a general dislike for physical activity who has a hard time making friends. The main difference here is that Turtle gets to live out all my wildest power fantasies. But Tui doesn't just make him a Gary Stew, she dives into how such a power fantasy can be a double-edged sword. As soon as people find out, your life changes forever. People will never stop wanting things from you. Turtle is a surprisingly self-aware character, and I love how he constantly thinks in terms of what kind of story he's in and what his role is within it. Point is, Turtle isn't stupid. He knows full well what would happen if word of his power got out, especially after seeing how his sister Anemone turned out. He fears it. He actively avoids the spotlight by any means necessary. The last thing he wants is for everyone to be dependent on him. But, lo and behold, Book 9 throws exactly that at him with the force of a freight train. It's often said that the best heroes are the ones who never wanted to be, and Turtle fits that bill perfectly. He's not being the hero because he wants to. He's doing it because he's literally the only one in a position to do anything. And seeing him finally gain some confidence by the end of the book is really satisfying, despite the, not-so-happy ending. Number 3. Six Claws. I originally had Six Claws and Turtle swapped, but after some thought, I decided to bump Six Claws up to number 3. While I do see a lot of myself in Turtle, there's one thing Six Claws does that Turtle doesn't. Six Claws and his entire character arc legitimately made me question my choices in life, and I swear I'm not exaggerating when I say that. Following every order no matter how much he hates it, choosing his loyalty based on his parents, fighting his friends because they ultimately had differing opinions, I relate to all of that more than I probably should. But it's that deep connection that lets you know that you've made a really good character. While I don't have as much to say about Six Claws overall, what I do have to say is honestly more impactful than most other characters, which firmly places him in my number 3 spot. Number 2. Kibbly. At first, I didn't really think much of Kibbly. To me, he was just a typical jokester character and was just kind of there. But when I reread most of the second arc a while back, I finally saw Kibbly for the complex and lovable character that he is. And despite Book 10's glaring flaws, it still handled Kibbly's character really well. He longs for power, for anything to make him special, because he feels like he could do so much good for the world. I feel that, I really do. Stories usually end with the protagonist either getting what they want or learning to accept that they won't, and the latter is true for Kibbly, showing that yes, you can change the world, no matter how quote-unquote ordinary you are. His arc was so well done. Not to mention, he's honestly the funniest character in the whole series. While I don't personally ship Quinter, I can't deny that the memes that came of that love triangle have made quite an impact on the fandom, to the point where Kibbly has basically claimed the title of being the fandom's biggest meme character. He's just a great guy all around, but there's one dragon who has won me over even more than Kibbly here. And if you paid attention in my Book 10 video or know me on Discord, you probably know who it is. You could honestly interchange any of numbers 2 through 5 on this list. I love them all, but this guy was always going to be number 1. My favorite Wings of Fire character of all time is Fathom. Step aside, Turtle, there's a new anxiety king in town. If there's one thing I like seeing my favorite characters do, it's suffer. And Fathom pulls it off perfectly. During the Royal Seawing Massacre, you can really feel his sheer terror. His depression after being separated from Indigo was really well done too. But Fathom's best scene, my favorite scene in the entire series, is when Fathom reads Darkstalker's scroll. That feeling of guilt washing over him, not only at the fact that Indigo was right about Darkstalker, but that she'd been right under Fathom's nose the whole time and he never realized it. This scene, this is what cemented Fathom as my favorite. That mixture of horror and grief is palpable, and I imagined this scene so vividly I just had to draw it, which is what's on your screen right now. In general, Fathom is the character I end up drawing the most, but this piece right here is easily the one I'm most proud of. Fathom as a whole is just amazing. I've never felt so heavily for any fictional character, and as a bonus, I get to voice him over on Jade Mountain Library, so that's definitely a plus. So anyway, that's about it, but before I go, I've got an announcement. There is now an official Wings of Charcoal Discord server. This is pretty much a hangout spot for any fans of my channel or just Wings of Fire in general, so please check it out if you're at all interested. Link will be in the description and in the pinned comment. In other news, the Dangerous Gift is almost upon us, and I'm really excited to talk about it, but I've got another big video coming before then, so be on the lookout for that. This has been Wings of Charcoal, and I will see you all in the next video.